So, this happened. Hello. Hello. So I finally got round to filming this video. Where's your little hand? Where's your little hand? Is that a smile? So, as you can see, I've had my baby. Hello. He was 3 weeks old on Saturday. Today is Monday, so he was 3 weeks and 2 days old. Aren't you? And I finally got around to filming. So this is my baby boy, Jasper Daniel Perkins. He's saying hello. He's probably now trying to have a poo. That's just lovely. He was born on Saturday the 23rd of February at 12 minutes past 10 at night, and he was £8.2. He's now probably about £8.7. He dropped down to £7.9, which is normal for newborns, but he is a porky pie. He is a little shorty like his mama. And yeah, I am just so blessed. But anyway, in today's video I will be telling you all about my labour and delivery story and how this little fella came into the world. So if you want to see that, then just keep on watching. But also don't forget to check out my birth vlog, which was my latest video just before this one. I will leave it linked down below. But without further ado, let's get into it. So I got my notes that I've had to ask people to send me because, you know, it's a little bit hazy. It's a little bit hazy. But I want to start off with at 38 weeks pregnant. Around that time, I might have been a few days over. There was a day that little Jasper was not playing ball, and I had quite a lot of reduced movements, and they say to you, if any of your, it doesn't mean you don't have to feel any movement, but if you have a lot of reduced movements or your baby's patterns are completely different to what they usually would be, then please contact your hospital or midwife and go and get it checked out. So that's what happened to me at 38 weeks. First time it's ever happened. I've had a really lovely pregnancy. He's been good as gold. So we went into hospital and you get put on a monitor and they just check the heart rate and they check the movements, and you have a little button you have to press, which just every time you feel baby move, you let them know. Don't we, chick? So that was that. We were there for about an hour, a bit longer, and then because it was my first time in with reduced movements, they referred me for a scan the next day just to check everything was good with baby. So the next day we went up for the scan, had the scan, still didn't find out, oh no, still didn't find out what we were having because you were a surprise. But during that scan we found out that at 38 weeks pregnant, Jasper was weighing in at around £8.2, which for me and for anyone really is quite a big baby. And they were telling me that a few months beforehand they wouldn't have worried about it. They wouldn't worry because your body will create a baby that you can hold and you can home and you can birth. But lately they've been doing a lot more research and stuff, and they basically don't like your baby to get too big before you deliver because of complications. So with that being said, they then spoke to me about induction, which I was terrified about because I really wanted to have a natural birth, all like done, you know, at home doing the washing or some cleaning and your waters break and that sort of thing. But you know, it wasn't going to happen. And if it meant him coming out safe, then that's all that mattered to me, and complications for myself. So they decided to book us in on Sunday the 24th of February, which was like a week or so after this date. They basically didn't want him to go over 9 pounds. So the way they worked it out was that any time between 39 weeks and 39 plus 4 weeks, they would induce me. So we got the message about when they wanted us to be induced. That was that. Anyway, at 39 weeks, someone didn't want to play ball again, and again I had some reduced movement, so we went back in. This was on Friday the 23rd of February. It was sort of late afternoon, early evening, same situation, but what they decided this time was, because we were due to be induced anyway, they sort of said, you know what, you're over 39 weeks now, we're happy to induce you today. So I was like, okay then, this is it. I'm not going home again without having my little baby. which is very exciting. So we were on the ward, and then we had to wait for a little bit, and then we got taken down to our room and the ward and everything. And by this time it was sort of getting a bit later in the evening. We were starving, so Dan actually popped out to Nando's and got us a Nando's, which was lovely. I had the iPad. I was watching MasterChef and Jamie Oliver on the iPad because we had some stuff in the car anyway, just in case. Dan had also gone home to get some more bits as well and everything else. So we were waiting quite a long time, and during this time you have some examinations of down there to see how your cervix is and how soft everything is and if you're ready, basically. So I had a midwife come and do an examination, and from her examination she thought that she could feel Jasper's cord on the top of his head. So she wanted to get a second opinion, because if that was the case, then I would not have been able to deliver him naturally, vaginally. It would have had to have been a cesarean section, which would have been fine if that meant he was okay, but you know, it is what it is. So I had her examine me. I then had a doctor come in to examine me, but they had to put in the plastic thing, you know, like if you have a smear test, that instrument. So I had that done twice. She said she wasn't sure if she could see it or not, or if it was. So then after that, I then had to go for a scan, and we found out that his cord wasn't on the top of his head, which was amazing. But also I felt very sore, very violated. And then after all of that, by 3 AM, I then had the pessary fitted. So again, it's another examination of them putting it inside you. Basically like a little tampon, or almost like a little tablet with a big string that hangs out, and you just leave it in. You leave it in for 24 hours. If nothing happens, then they take the next step. So yeah, by this point I was in a lot of pain. I was in a lot of discomfort. I was very emotional. I was quite scared. I had a lady next to me who was on day 3 of induction, so that was putting a damper on things anyway, because I was thinking, oh my god, I cannot be doing this for 3 days, if not more. And I'd already been told that it could take up to 5 days. No. So anyway, Dan went home that night, like early hours, because I said to him, there's no point in him staying in, nothing's going to happen, it can take a long time. And rightly so, nothing did happen. I woke up the next morning. Oh, also at this point I found out I was 3 centimeters dilated, so I think they were quite happy with the way things were going. So then the next morning, on Saturday the 23rd of February, Dan came, oh he's gone to sleep. Dan came into the hospital. He came back to see me, and I was fed right up. I was foul. I was miserable. Again, I was in a lot of pain. I just felt so heavy. I honestly felt like my bits had been kicked by a horse. Felt bruised, and at the time I was thinking it was all from the examinations from the night before, which, to be honest, it very much could have been. But later on I soon realised it was probably a lot of pressure from something else as well. So yeah, so the day went on. Me and Dan took a walk over to the main side of the hospital and got a coffee and just tried to get out a little bit. It was beautiful weather. It was like 20 degrees, and obviously I was stuck inside a hospital room, so I wanted to get out and get going. So we went for a little stroll. I was just miserable, basically. And then visiting hours were 2 till 4. So my nan and my sister came in to see me, and I was just walking around. I've been bouncing on the yoga ball. I've been like trying to just get things moving a little bit. Squats I think I did at one point, you know, everything. I was eating pineapple still in the hospital, anything to get it going, basically. So yeah, my nan and my sister came in at 2 PM. By 2:20 my waters broke. So I was stood at the end of my bed, my sister was sat down somewhere, and my nan was sat on the bed, and all of a sudden I was like, oh my god, what the hell? And it literally was just this warm gush of water. I didn't get the trickle, I got the full-on Niagara Falls. Yeah, it happened. But I had my big knickers on, and obviously one of these maternity nappy pads on. So my nan and my sister were like, I can't see any water. And I was like, honestly, all of a sudden it started coming out big time, and it was just this weirdest sensation. It was so strange. So once that happened, we called the midwife, she came over, and then I had to get back on the bed to be monitored for about 10 to 15 minutes. I'm not lying to you, the contractions started ASAP, like every 2 to 3 minutes. Me and Dan were timing them. They were sort of every 4, then every 2 to 3. They were intense. I had a flannel on my head, then I was telling him to take it off. He was trying to rub my back. I was telling him to get off. My nan was rubbing my back. It was all going on. It all got a bit much. I was in a lot of pain, a lot of pain. In the meantime, my nan is on the phone to my mum, trying to get my mum to get here ASAP, because I'm sorry if I'm swaying, by the way, and that's making you feel a bit sick, but he likes to be swayed. So yeah, she was trying to get my mum to come, blah, 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 blah. I just needed to get off the bed. I could not be led down going through these contractions. I was on there for about 10 to 15 minutes and that was more than enough. Like, no chance. Anyway, the midwife then came in and she said, your contractions are really quick and really close together. Therefore, we can then take the pessary out. I was not taking that pessary out. So poor Dan had to take the pessary out for me. All the glamour. Honestly, your relationship would never be the same. Be a lot stronger, but it would never be the same. So he took that out for me. And then I was examined and I was 4 centimetres dilated. My mum had arrived by this point, thank God. She was finally there. And then at sort of around 10 to 4 o'clock, I was taken up to the delivery suite. So yeah, I was sort of naturally labouring and dealing with my contractions for about an hour and a half, which was more than enough. I was literally gagging for gas and air. The poor lady next to me, honestly. So I got put in a wheelchair, got wheeled up to delivery suite, and as soon as we were in there, I had a lovely, lovely midwife. I actually, because it was the evening, I had a midwife for a certain amount of time, and then I had some, like, they changed obviously during the shift, but all the midwives I had were fantastic. I literally cannot complain one bit. But anyway, we got in this lovely, lovely room. Straight away, I was like, I guess I can't have a water bear because there wasn't a pool in the room. And she was like, well, just see how you get on, see how you progress, because it could take a long time, etc. But I was just walking around. I was sort of on the yoga ball a little bit. I didn't want to be led down for too long. And I hit that gas and air like you would not believe. Honestly, I honestly could not have got through it without the gas and air. It was the best thing ever. The only thing I would say about gas and air is it dries your mouth out like no tomorrow. They give you these like sort of like little jugs of water, and I think I got through about 5. Like, I kept like, Dan, I need a drink, Mum, I need a drink. There's straws, water, everything. All right, darling. Hey, it's all right. So then around 6:30, so about an hour and a half after, well, 2.5 hours after I got to the delivery suite, they asked if I wanted any more pain relief. I can't really, this is all very vague, so this is all very much from what people have been telling me, but I was then given pethidine, which is an injection in the leg. They said that I needed to go to the toilet and empty all my bowels first because it can make you feel very drowsy and very drunk. So that, I did that, and then I had the pethidine, and I was then on the bed more then because obviously you're very drowsy. I remember being on my side at one point, or trying to go on all 4s, and also they found out that he was led a bit sideways, so we needed to try and turn him the right way. So then by, I think I was just contracting naturally, letting it all happen on the gas and air. I obviously had the pethidine. Apparently I was falling asleep in between my contractions, so no complaints there. Was quite calm at this point. Then by 7:45 the midwives were changing over, and they also then realised that I was 9 centimetres dilated. So it happened quite quickly. From sort of within 4 hours I'd gone from 4 centimetres to 9 centimetres, which is quite good considering normally they sort of tell you that you do a centimetre an hour, I think. So it was near enough around that sort of time frame. So that was happening. I was 9 centimetres dilated, and they wanted me to start pushing. I had a student midwife, another midwife come in, and they were fantastic. So at this point, when I'm starting to push, I think, again, it's vague, but I was on my back because I had to be in that position because I was drowsy, and then at some point they had to get the stirrups up and put half the bed down to help me push because he was taking quite a long time to come out. By 9 o'clock, they had to put a clip on his head because what was happening, his heart rate was dipping through the contractions, but it was more the fact they were worried that his heart rate was taking quite a long time to come back up, which they were getting quite concerned about. So they put the clip on his head just to monitor, obviously, his heart rate. I also at this point had to have an episiotomy. I had to be cut twice down below because he decided he wanted to come out head and shoulders at the same time. Yeah, painful. But all I remember is having this other midwife come in. She was fantastic. She was like Sergeant Major. And I had Dan on one side holding one leg. I had my mum on the other holding the other. And she was like, right, chin down, push, push, come on. And I was like, I can't do it, I can't do it. I got my chin like this. Honestly, I'm all scrunched up. Not how I imagined giving birth. I thought I'd be in this lovely water birth. But I'm squished up. I got Dan on the back of my head, pushing my head down, drinking all this water, flannel on the head, trying to push. And it took me, well, we started pushing around 8 o'clock and it took me till 12 minutes past 10 to get him out. I remember at one point saying, can I have a cesarean? And they were like, no, his head is kind of here. Obviously I didn't know what he was at the time, but his head is kind of here, so I don't think you would need to have a cesarean. But I managed to get him out eventually. I pushed and pushed and pushed and we got him out, and instantly I could cry about it now. They oh, emotional. I didn't think I'd get emotional. But they put him straight on me, as you will see from my birth vlog, and we had a bit of skin on skin, and I just was so overwhelmed. I didn't even cry, actually. I don't know why I cry now. I didn't even cry at the time. But I was so overwhelmed with love, and I couldn't believe that I'd done it. And Dan was really emotional, and I was so glad that my mum was there to see it, to see her grandson being born, and I was so glad that he was a boy. I honestly couldn't imagine not having him as a boy now. It's just, I just honestly cannot believe it. Like, I was in shock that he was a boy, but I was over the moon. So yeah, 12 minutes past 10 on Saturday the 23rd of February, Jasper was born, and we were just full of love, absolute love. So after we had skin on skin, he went down to be checked and monitored, and then Dan was able to dress him because I had to stay on the bed and I then had to be stitched back up. So in with the anaesthetic, back on the gas and air. I had my mum next to me while Dan was with Jasper, and I think I was being stitched for about 45 minutes. But you're just so in awe of what your body's just done and what's happened that you don't even, I don't care. Like, they do, like, what they say is true. As soon as the baby's born, you just forget all about it. Once that was all done, I was able to get back off the bed, and I was able to have a shower in the room just to wash away everything, make myself feel a bit better. And then I sat down and we started the breastfeeding process, and it was just magical having him there. My mum then went home around midnight, and me and Dan were able just to have time, the three of us, until we were taken down to our ward room at around 3 AM. So they came in with the tea and the toast, which is honestly the best thing you could want after going through that. Like, they don't call it labour for nothing, that's all I'm saying. And I had him, and it was just perfect. And we got wheeled back down, and everything about it was amazing. The midwives were amazing. Like, honestly, I need to send them, like, the amount of love and cards and everything, because they were just fantastic. And I felt really looked after, which was amazing. And so did he. And they persevered with the breastfeeding process with me as well, which was amazing. So yeah, that was my labour and delivery story for you guys. We stayed in for the whole of Sunday, and we went home on the Monday. And my next video for you guys will be an update on postpartum, the struggles that I've gone through since, breastfeeding, my body, and everything else, the joys, the highs and the lows. But yeah, so Jasper Perkins was born, and my life is complete. And I just want to say to all you mamas out there, don't be scared of induction. Yes, there are some horror stories, but I feel like my birth experience was really positive, even though it wasn't what I'd imagined at all with my oils and water birth. He was brought here safely, and I felt in very safe hands, and actually I found it okay. I felt quite calm, and I just felt in control, and we did it. We absolutely did it, and I couldn't be more blessed in my entire life. But yeah, thank you all for watching, guys. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up for me, and do not forget to hit subscribe to continue this journey with me, which has now gone from pregnancy to motherhood. of a young mama with her baby boy, and obviously my amazing, beautiful partner Dan as well, who has just been fantastic throughout this whole process, and I can't wait to tell you more about that. But if you guys want to leave any of your delivery stories or any advice for new mums to be or pregnant people down below, then please go ahead and do that for me. That would be fantastic. But thanks all for watching, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye.